One Piece 860. No breaks, man. No breaks. That is amazing. Oda putting in the work to get to Wano as soon as possible. I love it. We have Crocodile in the cover page. Initially, I thought that it was going to be an actual cover story that we were going to follow for more than one chapter. But no, it's just a fan request. And I kind of get the feeling that the reason why he decided to do this request with this chapter is because I think a lot of people wanted Crocoboy to be one of the lords of the underworld. And so since that didn't happen, because we actually saw the lineup of like the underworld bosses or whatever, and Crocodile wasn't part of it, I'm pretty sure this was like, you know, Oda's compensation prize. Just have him in the cover page. There you go. And while we're on the subject of the Lords of the Underworld, I have to admit that that's probably the most disappointing part of this chapter for me. I like their designs, especially the guy with the mask and the sickle, and also the bird, because he's the president of the Economic Times. And it would make sense that a bird would be the president because you use seagulls to communicate, you know? You use seagulls as the news carriers or whatever. So that's kind of cool. I like their designs. I just really wish that one of these lords of the underworld could have been a character that we already knew. Just because, I mean, all of these are new faces, and I don't know if Oda's going to have time to flesh them out, or if he even wants to flesh them out at this point. So I'm just kind of like, okay, well, it's a nice lineup, but I really wanted to see a familiar face in it. Other than that, I actually thought the chapter was really good. Like, even the small little details that Oda decided to incorporate, like Pero Spero making a candy elevator staircase for these lords, I thought was great. I just, you know, part of the world building, part of like, you know, just the uniqueness that just Oda loves to incorporate in all of these different sort of islands and worlds that he creates. I love that, okay? In the beginning, oh, those death flags for Jinbe kept flashing all over the place. It's like, honestly, like I read the conversation with Aladdin, and the only thing I thought of when I finished that section of the chapter was Jinbe is going to die. He actually says it in this chapter, all right? I intend to use my very life to protect my captain, Straw Hat Luffy. And he even says, like, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Holy crap. Now, the whole thing about him willing to sacrifice his own life, that's actually something that he said back in Marineford when he actually blocked one of Akainu's punches. Now, personally, I don't want him to die, but you have to admit, it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit sketchy that Oda would dedicate a chunk of this chapter to this Jinbe section right here. It is kind of like, it feels like foreshadowing, it really does. Now, I'm going to say something, and this may come across as if I'm actually lying to you, but remember, you could choose to believe it or not. Remember last week when I said that nobody should have given Caesar the job of being in charge of the escape? Nobody should have done that. That was a horrible, horrible part of the plan, right? That's just like asking for trouble, and it's going to go wrong, all right? So I said that in the review, but what I didn't say, and what I thought of after I finished uploading that review was like, shit, they should have given that job to Jinbe. Jinbe should have been the guy, or should be the guy who's like the last one out the door, because he is so reliable. And now it's like, oh man, with this chapter, I kind of have a feeling that that may happen. Caesar might like run away or do something, and I kind of get the feeling that Jinbe's going to be the one, you know, with Brule in one arm, just telling everybody to leave. Get out of here, leave me be. Something's going to happen to Luffy, so he won't be able to do anything about Jinbe. He'll be forced to run away, all right? And then Jinbe's just going to stand there like a boss, and then Big Mom's going to show up like, Jinbe! Prometheus in one hand, Zeus in the other. She's like, you owe me a debt, motherfucker! Everybody's running away, crying at Jinbe's sacrifice. They get to the ship, and everybody's just breaking down in agony and pain. And then we cut to the reverie. I think that's the ending of Whole Cake Island. Because you know these people ain't staying. Hell no. Did you see what Katakuri can do? Are you kidding me? Hell no. You think they're going to stay to pick a fight? The plan is to shoot moms and then just get the hell out of there ASAP. Unless Capone does something, you know, to betray the Alliance in the middle of the chaos. That being said, Smoothie's there at the party just doing some weird shit. You know, she's juicing a giraffe, like a volcano rock, and I'm thinking that the girl that she has hanging over her there is also the girl that she juiced when they were in the throne room. But yeah, just really weird things. I mean, the stuff that Oda comes up with, like you can actually drink like rock volcano juice and giraffe juice. Imagine like what giraffe juice tastes like. I don't even want to know. You got the Vince Smokes on fleek, You know, all of them looking really good, on point with their little half cape or whatever. Oh, by the way, something that I forgot to say. So Peckham's is tied up at the beach or whatever near the coast, and actually now it's like this plan is totally 120% gonna fail, because it's like either Peckham's gets out of there and warns Big Mom about the plan. Either personally, I thought Bobbin was actually going to be the one to actually wake up and you know, enter the wedding bleeding and be like, Mama, there's a betrayal. Even then, all right, even if neither of those two characters show up to warn Mom about the betrayal, Katakuri can see the future. I mean, hello? It's like, and Capone is like, I mean, this plan is just terrible. I mean, honestly, I feel like Capone should have mentioned that in his discussion last week. You know, he should have said like, oh, by the way, just a minor, insignificant little detail, all right? One of the commanders can actually see the future, so no biggie. Just try and shoot that thing anyway. What are you gonna do? You're gonna flank this guy and hope he doesn't notice? Although technically, I guess that's Luffy's job as a decoy, which was settled last week, so. But even then, it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, are you kidding me with this? Seriously, Capone. What is going on? I like the fact that he makes it a point to say that he trained his observation haki. It's not like this natural form of, hey, I'm just super fucking OP. No, he actually worked at it, and now this is what it's led up to. And that kind of opens up the door for me to think about, okay, so if you can train your observation haki to get to this point where you actually have like this, you know, precognitive type of ability, you know, this foresight, in terms of like people doing certain things before they actually do them, that's some crazy shit. And I guess it opens up the door for another level of all of the three Hakis, all right? So for example, for observation, it has to do with perception, all right? So it would make sense that what you would have as the end result of training that shit or like using some steroids on that haki is that you can see the future. For armament haki, I think we've already been introduced to that, which is the fact that I think like that's what Kaido and Big Mom have, to the point where like armament haki is always activated. It's like this shield around their bodies, all right? Armament haki has to do with physicality, defense and attack. So the question would be, what would be the next step for King's haki then? Because King's haki is all about dominance. It's about, you know, asserting your presence as somebody who's special. Not all people have this type of haki. It's the most rarest type of haki. And you either have it or you don't. So I kind of wonder what would that next step be, if that even exists. I kind of get the feeling that there has to be something else for King's haki, just like it is for Devil Fruits, right? We find out that Zoe and Devil Fruits can be awakened. We find out that Paramecius can be awakened. It also makes sense for Logius to be awakened as well. Now going back to Dogtooth's observation haki, this is not the first time in the series that we've actually learned of a character being able to see the future, all right? A great example of this is Madame Shirley back in Fishman Island. She has like this crystal ball. She can see certain future events, and they always come true. However, that type of like ability to see the future is not as helpful in battle, because usually the prophecies, like, they take a while to come true, all right? They're significant events, but they just take a while to come true. It's not like immediately like Katakuri can. Another thing, all right, another point. This is something that I thought of. And I never really understood it up until now. But I think Luffy may be able to train himself to activate this type of observation haki. Why? There's a scene in Marineford where Luffy's about to fight Mihawk. I think he's gonna use like a bazooka or something. So he pulls back his arms. He's like, Gomu Gomu no! Mihawk is about to ready his sword, all right? And he's about to slash those arms. And before Luffy actually shoots his arms at him, he stops himself. He actually takes his arms and punches the ice. And he's like, no, hell no, I'm not doing this. And the reason for why he doesn't do it is because he actually gets like a very, very brief vision of the fact that if he were to throw that punch, if that attack would have gone through, Mihawk would have just sliced his arms right off. So I'm assuming that's like the haki that Katakuri has, but at a very, very basic, you know, just even premature level, because Katakuri can even predict what people are going to say in the future, right? He knows people's lines before they actually say them. I like how he uses jelly beans to shoot people with. That's great. I mean, he throws these jelly beans like they were bullets. His design is awesome. He looks a little bit like Law. In fact, he looks like one of those badass bikers that you know are like the leader of the biker pack. and that they will fuck you up. You know who he reminds me of? Actually, Negan from The Walking Dead. He's one of those guys that will probably come up to Luffy and probably say, I will shut that shit down, no exceptions. If you fathers just so much as think about betraying Big Mom, I will shoot this jelly bean so hard up your ass it'll come out of your face and pop an eye out. Alright? He seems actually, to quote Urouge, when he saw Zoro for the first time, he doesn't seem like a guy to follow orders, which actually says more about the captain. This guy actually just says more about Big Mom. Alright? And his bounty. He's the highest bounty in the series to date, all right? Higher than Jack's, all right? It's 1,057 mil. Higher than Jack's. And by the way, I'm pretty sure this also confirms the fact that Jack is not Kaido's front man guy. I don't think that Jack is like the #1 underling. I do not think Jack is the right-hand man of Kaido. Because if Big Mom has somebody over 1 bill, you can bet your ass Kaido's gonna have one. Long story short, I thought it was a really good chapter, and because I know that this guy is going to be like the center of a lot of discussion, I'm just going to say that I do not think that anybody on Luffy's side right now, all right, including Luffy, all right, I just don't think that anybody can go on a 1v1 against this guy and win. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Go back to Cracker. It took Luffy how many hours to beat Cracker? And he would refill, he would run away, recharge, and then come back. All right. Plus, he also had Nami's help, so he needed Nami's help with the weather plus the homies to be able to beat Cracker. There was a lot of advantages in that fight against Cracker that Luffy used to win. All right. He also was like, you know, eating up those biscuits so that he could restore energy. So no, 1v1. I just don't think so. Especially because this is not a secluded area like the Seducing Woods. There's a bunch of people that are going to be gunning for them all at the same time if they decide, you know, to actually pick a fight. So no 1v1 for Katakuri nor for Big Mom. At least not this arc. I'm sorry. Please let me know your opinion. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Let me know your opinion down below. Comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and like the video if you did. Thank you. Unless Luffy has some like Gear 5th already, Gear 6 type of stuff that we haven't seen, I just don't see it.